all right. We are live. We're going to talk about UFC 318. Is Usyk the greatest heavyweight of all time? And a lot of signs seem to point in that direction. Also, what is next for Max Holloway? Obviously, we know what is next for Dustin Poirier, and that is retirement. Or is it maybe a Jake Paul fight in the future? I mean, that seems to be the trajectory of a lot of these MMA guys that are retired, right? So you never know, right? Obviously, it was a great weekend of fights. I mean, very exciting weekend of fights. So we're gonna get to all the breakdowns and this and that and the other. So yeah, please don't forget to hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. We're gonna get cooking right here in just a second, okay? So let's see here. We're gonna put up a thumbnail and then we're gonna get this on and cracking just like that. The homie Zubs, what's good, Kyrie? How you doing, my man? Good morning to you, my brother Marty Miller. How are you guys? All right, we got some people piling in here right now because we are about to, yes, talk about UFC 318. Where is this thing? Okay, wait. Let's save this right here. Here we go. All right, we're going to put up the thumbnail for this one. And where is this thing? Hold on a second. Post. There we go. Okay. Boom. We got the all right, so there we go. Bright and early this morning. That's right, my man. That's right. It's 5 a.m. in the morning here in California, probably around maybe 6 or 7 p.m. or a.m., I'm sorry, where you're at in Ohio, I would assume. But yeah, nonetheless, bright and early across the United States, 5 a.m. in the West Coast, 7 in the Midwest, and then probably 8 o'clock in the East Coast. You know, they say that whenever you create content, you want to make sure that you do it very bright and early for, let's say, you know, the West Coast, right? Because obviously right now in the East Coast, it is like 8 o'clock over there. So yeah, it is the West Coast that sort of starts off the entire America, right? When it comes to marketing, when it comes to content creating and things of that nature. So yeah, the West Coast of America sort of, yeah, you know what I'm saying? Pretty much starts off that right there. Marty Miller says, I was wrong about the Dustin fight, but I say if Max kicked more, it would have worked in his favor. I agree. I agree. And he did exactly that, right? Max did throw a little more kicks than usual. Marty Miller says, Dustin said in his post-fight that the body kicks were affecting him. There you go, right? So now, we not only have a factor of the fact that Dustin Poirier, as I've said going into this fight, is severely damaged in comparison to Max Holloway. And by the way, Max Holloway does not spar. And a lot of people think this is very wrong. A lot of people think that this is against the traditions that a lot of people, you know, really, you know, sort of look at as what is a traditional fighting camp. But it really salvaged many of the damages that he could have taken. And you look at Dustin Poirier, his whole entire career was nothing but a car crash. I mean, you look at the fight with Dustin and Dan Hooker, that was a car crash. The Justin Gaethje fight was a car crash. What else was a car crash? Yeah, man. Eddie Alvarez fights were a car crash. So yeah, definitely a factor in this fight. And then Max decided, you know what, I'm going to do a different technique this time. Throw a little bit more kicks, right? Throw him off a little bit, right? Because sometimes you can't go boxing for boxing. I honestly think Dustin Poirier at some point was the best boxer at 155. And Max needed to do something a little bit different, and he did exactly that. Zahomi Zubs said, "Hey Kyrie, quick question. Do Russians have any big representatives in terms of accolades and achievements in the striking realm? Like how do they do in grappling?" There are some Russians that, for example, there's this kickboxer Ventikov, I believe, right? Let me see who this guy is right here. Glory kickboxer in Russian. I believe the UFC was supposed to sign this guy, and Artem Vatikov, right, is one example of that. Artem Vatikov was supposed to be the guy that was going to sign to the UFC. He had fought, I believe, Alex Pereira. Yeah, he fought Alex Pereira. He recently lost to Rico Verhoeven back in what is it, June? So yeah, they have a pretty deep kickboxing system. Obviously, the boxing has always been there with the Russians, right? You got Bivol, Arthur Beterbiev, the list goes on. Valuev, who else? Sergey Kovalev. If you want to add the bullet guy, Sharaputin, Marty Miller says, so yeah, the Russians definitely have a good striking background in them, right? Zabit is another great example of this. Marty Miller says, "I agree with your takes on the damage, but I think Dustin was just hesitant. He was in his head a bit, but being the last fight, didn't want to get knocked out." Yeah, that's true. Yeah, Zahomi Zub says the Soviet style is vicious. It is, because you know what I like about the Soviet style is that they like to throw straight punches while they are moving at the same time, right? This is something that I really noticed about the Russian Soviet style of boxing. Stinky says, "What are we talking about here?" We're talking about Max Holloway and his defeat of Dustin Poirier, and the difference between this fight and the last fight. And the big differences between this fight and the last fight obviously was the adjustment of Max Holloway, the fact that he implemented a little bit more kicks, and the fact that he is less damaged than Dustin Poirier. Obviously, Dustin Poirier has been through a lot of wars, and I had mentioned going into this fight that it was going to be a serious factor for him to go in here damaged, right? And Max is fresh, man. Max doesn't take any damage, and he doesn't even spar, which is the crazy part about this whole thing, right? He doesn't spar, and I think it's quite revolutionary for the new age of mixed martial arts in that regard. So, also, the other thing we're talking about is Alexander Usyk. Now, let's take a look at some stats with Alexander Usyk and Muhammad Ali, right? Usyk and Muhammad Ali, their stats. Okay, check this out. They share several striking similarities. Okay, physical attributes and boxing achievement wise. Both are 6'3", both have a 78-inch reach, and both have achieved undisputed status in multiple weight classes. Okay, and they both share the same birthday, okay, which is January 17th, right? They share that same birthday. So I think what Alexander Usyk proved in this generation, and I think in martial arts overall, right? Size almost doesn't matter. It is really all about skill. Now look, Alexander Usyk is not the biggest heavyweight. Now, during the time of Muhammad Ali, he was considered a big heavyweight, right? But now you look at the giants that they have going on. You got Tyson Fury, 6'9", Deontay, 6'7", Big Baby Miller at 300 pounds, right? These gigantic men that are in the heavyweight division right now, right? Ali never had to face anybody like that, ever. But Alexander Usyk did, and he proved that skills, by the end of the day, pays the bills. And this is why Alexander Usyk is the greatest heavyweight of all time, right? Now, I know a lot of people are going to get mad at this, but you have to remember fighting and talking about fights is a subjective matter. And what I mean by that is if I say that Alexander Usyk is the greatest fighter of all time, perhaps maybe I'm speaking out of recency biasness, right? There's a possibility of that. But when it comes to social impact, I don't think that you can match anything that Muhammad Ali does, and I don't think that anybody is ever going to deny Muhammad Ali of such status, right? But when it comes to boxing, you can't deny that Alexander Usyk probably has the tougher competition in today's day and age than Muhammad Ali ever did. And of course, other people might argue that. Other people will say, well, if Usyk was to fight Muhammad Ali today, prime for prime, that Muhammad Ali would win, or Alexander Usyk would win, or depending on who you would ask. But the thing is, I don't like these kinds of talks, to be quite honest with you, right? People always ask the question, how will prime BJ Penn do against Khabib, or prime Khabib, or Khabib right now? Or if BJ Penn was to fight Khabib right now, it wouldn't even be a chance in hell, man, to be quite honest with you, right? But what I'm saying is that these are hypothetical talks. They're not anything of real substance. There's nothing that you can really go off. And you know what? It's a tease by the end of the day because you'll never see these men fight at all, right? So Philly Fry says, hi, how you doing, Philip Fry? Let me know what part of the world you are from. I called you Philly Fry. It's actually Philip Fry. Okay, shout out to Philip Fry. First time I've seen you in the chat. Let me know what part of the world you are from. Also hit the like and the subscribe button. And let's get to it because we're also going to talk about Manny Pacquiao and his performance against Mario Barrios. Now, look, there was a lot of combat sports going on during the week. Very heavy week in the combat sports. You had Dustin Poirer, you had Manny Pacquiao versus Mario Barrios, and then you had the undisputed heavyweight championship of the world with Alexander Usyk taking on Daniel Dubois, knocking him out in the 5th round. And then you had PFL Africa on top of that, right? So it was a very busy weekend. And among that busy weekend, obviously, Manny Pacquiao fought during that week. And going into the fight, China, do you mean China? Okay, or Ghana. Let me know what part of the world you meant to say, Philip Fry. But yeah, shout out to Philip Fry. Everybody give a warm welcome to Philip Fry on the chat. So going into the fight with Mario Barrios and Manny Pacquiao, right? I honestly thought that Manny Pacquiao was going to get starched in here because, quite frankly, I think this is a lesson for all of us, right? Never underestimate the old dogs, but let's get to the the objective matter at hand when it comes to this, right? Manny Pacquiao trains viciously, trains hard. Now look, he may not be able to do this with the top echelons of the 147 division. He may not be able to do this against who's the top 147 champion right now. Let's take a look at the landscape of boxing champions right now in that weight class, okay? Because that weight class right there, I believe, changes a lot, right? So the Bridgerweight champion. Okay, so we have Bridgerweight champions. Okay, Cruiserweight champions. Badu Jack, Dimitri Bivol at 175, super middleweight. Okay, now on to 147, right? Welterweight division. Jaron Ennis. Do I honestly think that Jaron Ennis could beat Manny Pacquiao? Of course, he would beat the living snot out of Manny Pacquiao, right? Mario Barrios, the WBC champion, is one thing, right? Now, not all champions are created equal, okay? They're not created equal in terms of Mario Barrios versus, let's say, Jaron Ennis. Okay, and then there's Brian Norman Jr., who's 28-0 right now. Could Manny Pacquiao beat someone like that? I don't know. But Mario Barrios, for sure, he showed out on this one. And the reason why I thought that Manny Pacquiao was not going to do too good is because, look, 46 is 46 years old, right? It's one thing to be 46 years old at, the heavyweight division. This is very much possible to do. You can very much win, at that stage in the heavyweight division. But if you're 46 at the welterweight division, it's going to be very difficult to believe that. You know what? Manny Pacquiao made a believer in all of us, okay, including myself. And to be quite honest with you, Manny Pacquiao, I respect him as a fighter. I love what he's done over the years. I love the entertainment value that he's brought into boxing. But I'm going to be honest with you, I think many of his fans are just absolutely annoying. Okay, they are absolutely annoying. The most annoying fan base in all of boxing and in all of combat sports, in my opinion, is Manny Pacquiao's fan base. Now, look, that has nothing against him in any kind of capacity whatsoever. It is absolutely nothing against him. But, you know what? I have my own opinions on certain things. Yeah, I just think that his fans are annoying. But regardless of that, okay, that is my subjective opinion on that matter. The objective reality is that he proved a lot of us wrong. And you know what? Many people love to believe that you will never achieve anything at a certain age, at a certain time, or ever, right? That is just what people do. They love to doubt you. That's the thing about, people is they think that, okay, well, because they've seen other people not be able to do it at 46 years old, they've seen other people fail at that time of their boxing career, that somehow Manny Pacquiao is also going to suffer the same fate. But lo and behold, this is the main story and the main lesson that you got to learn from this. The man believed in himself. He believed in himself so much that it made a lot of you, including myself, swallow their own pride and and basically he stuck it to all of us, right? For all of those that didn't believe in him. So, never underestimate anybody's ability to achieve what it is that they want to achieve, and that also includes Manny Pacquiao. Now, look, the controversial side of that is that it went to a draw. Now, do I necessarily agree with the draw that came out of the result? I don't think so. I'm going to be honest with you, right? I don't agree with the result. I think Manny Pacquiao won that fight, but you imagine, what if he had won that fight? He would have been the oldest welterweight champion of all time, probably the oldest person ever win a title. Now, that would have been a great achievement, but just like Dustin Poirier, though, not everything is a fairy tale, and that, I think, is the reality of boxing, the reality of combat sports in general, right? Nothing is ever a fairy tale, and as such, sometimes, these things happen when it comes to analyzing the thrill and the agony of wins and defeats. So let's hear some comments that people are saying about Alexander Usyk. By the way, shout outs to the new subscriber. Also, guys, don't forget to subscribe. I'm on the road to 1,000 subscribers. I have about 48 left, right? I'm officially at 952 subscribers, just waiting for 48 more. Hopefully we can do that by the end of the summer. Hopefully we can do that by the end of this stream. But who knows? We shall see. Okay, let's hear some comments on this particular fight, shall we? So, okay. Let's see. All right, let's see here. Eddie Hearn. Let's go look at what Eddie Hearn had to say during the week. Okay. Okay, hold on. Let me just trying to find this video right here. Okay, let's hear what Eddie Hearn on okay, here we go. The Stomping Ground.
Beautiful engagement rings. We handpick exquisite.
This is Charlie Bosses for the Stomping Ground, powered by Wow Hydrate and available on design. Eddie Hearn, wow, interesting night, undisputed action. Alexander Usyk gets it done.
Unbelievable.
What did you make of the performance?
Just in awe of watching it, to be honest with you. I mean, it's such a great lesson, and I mean, obviously role model to all fighters, but the way that he controls a fight. So comes out for the first round. Dubois looks massive, strong, powerful guy. And the one thing you can't allow Dubois to do is get any confidence. You've got to take his confidence away. You've got to make him think. You've got to make him work. You've got to land a hard jab. You've got to make him question himself.
And you know what? Usyk did exactly that. Usyk counter-shotted him a few times, right? He was leaning back in the ropes, and as he was leaning back in the ropes, he was waiting to hit Usyk with some shots, and you know, very brilliant counter-fighting on the part of Alexander Usyk during that fight.
And in that first round, Dubois comes out the aggressor, right? Big, strong, rough and tough. Puts Usyk on his back foot. You even see Usyk's face, you know, like he's really concentrating. Goes back to his stool. This is my interpretation of the fight. Where I mean, I think I'm right. And basically says to himself, I can't afford to let Dubois do that to me, because otherwise it's going to be a long night. So I'm going to just take the middle of the ring now. I'm going to start pushing him back. Takes the middle of the ring, and it's like, I was just saying to Nishan Dev, it's like...
It's kind of like a bully mentality, right? Same thing that Teddy Atlas used to say about Mike Tyson. He would say that Mike Tyson was sort of like a bull, right? But the minute you challenge that bull, you know, he becomes soup, kind of like what Mr. Miyagi said to Colonel Dugan in the next Karate Kid. You know, he said, moral of the story, one day bad bull become good soup. In other words, you know, they end up slaughtering you. And, you know, if you think you're the big bad bull, then, you know, the rest of the village comes and swarms on you. And yeah, so that's basically what Mr. Miyagi was talking about. Marty Miller says, speaking of boxing, why the hell is Tony Ferguson fighting Salt Poppy? I thought Salt was a food influencer. You know what? I'm going to be honest with you, right? There's another, like, influencer that I can't stand, Salt Poppy. No, you know what? I got nothing against Salt Poppy. You know, he does his thing. He is an influencer. He used to be a fat kid, and if you look at him now, he looks like he's in very good shape. So, you know, credit to him on that. But yeah, I think that this is a bad fight for Tony Ferguson. Salt Poppy can box, and not only can he box, he can crack. Now, though, there are some times where I've seen Salt Poppy in some influencer boxing matches where he's knocked people out, but he's also gotten outboxed as well. And I think that the damage that Tony Ferguson has accumulated over the years won't do him any good with this one.
The movement, you know, it's up, it's down, and it's like, it's so draining. And the one thing you do, it's quite easy to do to Dubois, actually, is just drain him over time as you take his confidence.
He says, really? I have to look up some videos of him boxing. Yeah, he's quite good, man. He's another Jake Paul in a sense where the difference between him and Jake Paul, though, they both developed into boxers, but obviously, as you know, as a fellow Ohio guy yourself, Jake grew up doing wrestling, football, all of that. Salt Poppy didn't do any of that, right? He was a fat kid who got into social media influencing, TikTok videos, this, that, and the other. And by the end of the day, didn't do him any good. It didn't do him any good whatsoever. So, in terms of boxing, though, he did develop himself into a boxer, right? So, but it didn't do him any good living the life of just, you know, eating whatever it is that he wanted, or you know, bad diets, bad habits, and things of that nature. But he developed himself into a good boxer. Look, I'm telling you, Tony Ferguson is in for a hard fight, right? Tony Ferguson is an inexperienced boxer. Now, look, I understand he's a experienced combat athlete, and this is the thing that people always say about influencer boxer, right? Influencer boxing and MMA fighters. Oh, well, the MMA fighter is more experienced, or this, that, and the other. But Salt Poppy is the more experienced boxer. So, but either way, man, that's going to be an interesting fight. Let's see how Tony Ferguson does in the boxing ring. I'm sure you're as curious as I am how that goes.
Away from him. And then the second round, he just kind of flipped things round straight away. We started out before the bell in the third round, so I didn't see it. But obviously, I saw the stoppage, and they say from the third round, he just battered him basically. And like,
Prince Vandro says, any updates on Timur after his ambush? Oh, you know what? We'll get to that, man. Thank you for that, man. I'm gonna pin that comment right there, Prince, so that we can absolutely talk about that right after this Eddie Hearn, you know, video right here.
Dubois is a serious fighter. Like, he's not. I don't think he's skill-wise up there with Usyk, but to do that and just stop him and batter him, like, just phenomenal. Like, he is. There is absolutely no question in my mind who is the pound-for-pound #1 in the sport. Alexander Usyk has beaten Dubois twice, AJ twice, Tyson Fury twice. He's unbelievable.
Yeah, that's unbelievable stats. Twice on Tyson Fury, twice on Joshua, and twice on Dubois. It is no wonder they call him Usyk the UK Slayer.
You spoke to AJ at all about that?
Yeah, I did. I just texted him and I said, #1, Usyk's unbelievable. And #2, we really should have beaten Dubois. And he goes, oh no. Yeah. No, look. I think right now, to be honest with you, in this bizarre world, I mean, I just saw Jake Paul facing off with Alexander Usyk. I mean, what is going...
Wow, okay, well, let's get to that comment right now with Eddie Hearn saying that he saw Jake Paul confront Alexander Usyk. I'm going to get to that in a second, right? He was just saying here to Anthony Joshua, man, we should have won that one against Daniel Dubois. Look, I think styles make fights, and I don't think that Anthony Joshua would have beaten Dubois that night, right? Maybe on some other night, yes, that is a possibility. I mean, look, AJ went out on his shield on that fight. Okay, now going back to the Usyk and the Jake Paul face-off, they're gonna fight in MMA, and you know what? The reason why they're gonna fight in MMA is because it's less risky, and not only that, it doesn't damage the overall boxing record or the boxing resume of Alexander Usyk, right? So it's sort of like a side mission that he's doing, but at the same time, it's not tarnishing his boxing reputation, and it's also not tarnishing the boxing reputation of Jake Paul. So, yeah, that's what I have to say on that face-off right there. Prince Vandro. Oh, Chris says, "Hey, Stinky." Okay, he's saying what's up to somebody on the chat. Prince Vandro says what? Prince Vandro says crisp. Yeah. Yeah, so, okay, here we go.
Pound for pound #1 fighter in the world. He's facing off with Jake Paul. But it sounds like AJ's going to fight Jake Paul. I mean, if he's true to his word, if he really wants the fight, I mean, it's all very well saying...
Oh, yeah, so it is AJ that may fight Jake Paul in boxing, which is insane to really think about.
What did he say? I'll knock him, you know, he's got a weak chin.
Yeah, Jake Paul just spoke to Oscar there and said, Anthony Joshua has a weak chin, I will knock him out.
Well, look, if he's true to his word, the fight will happen.
Next.
Whenever.
I
know, but I can't believe... You know, and it's great that Tyson Fury's saying that Jake Paul's going to win, and people... I mean, like, maybe I've just lost my mind. But if they truly want that fight, you know, I reached out to Nikisa earlier. We're going to have a chat next week.
Crispy says, yeah, I've seen Stinky in other MMA chats. Well, hey, man, shout outs to Stinky. If he's in other MMA chats and he's in my chat as well, I welcome him here, and it shows that for those of you that are interested in MMA streaming, I'm one of the guys that you are that you go to. So I'm very honored by that. So shout out to everybody that's supporting, liking, subscribing, and all of that. So yeah, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and let's get to the content.
If they truly want the fight,
Prince Vandro says, Crisp, you are very rude. Oh, okay. We got a little bit of some conflict going on in the chat right now.
can make actually the fight that does the biggest numbers in the sport. Forget Canelo Crawford. That doesn't even touch the surface of, and I can't believe I'm saying it, of AJ against Jake Paul. If you want to do the biggest numbers in the
Crisp says, whatever. Okay, so we got a little conflict going on in the chat. Yeah, man, keep it going, guys. You know, let me know what your thoughts are, and, you know, each other's thoughts. Go ahead and go at it. You know, some other chats, some other MMA chats, they will tell you, oh, guys, don't continue on. And, well, listen, this is an American-based channel, so when it comes to that, freedom of speech reigns over here. So let's get to it.
school will make it happen, but please, I just want to be careful what you wish for. This ain't a game. This ain't.
Okay, Eddie Hearn has a stern warning for Jake Paul right now. Okay, and you know what? I'm gonna turn the mic. I'm gonna turn the camera over to Eddie Hearn just so you can see in his eyes how dead serious Eddie Hearn is about this. Okay, check this out.
This ain't a YouTube video. This ain't numbers. This isn't algorithms. This is physically dangerous. So if you want to do it, be careful, but we will do it.
If I'd said that sentence to you like
Listen, I've
3
never.
years ago.
We've always said, yeah, of course we'd do it, but I just didn't think anyone would even give it the credibility. And like, I'm not going to argue about it. I'm just telling you, and I'm telling Jake Paul, this is very dangerous.
I agree with Eddie Hearn, bro. This is an extremely dangerous fight. And if I was Jake Paul's manager, what are you doing? That's what I would say to him. You know what? I told you guys, I have a buddy who works with Jake Paul, right? Eric Trilogy, a guy that I trained with in Team Alpha Male, right? He's not getting in his ear about this because guess what, man? You know, he's out there to get that Anthony Joshua money. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, even to the detriment of Jake Paul's safety. I don't like this fight for Jake Paul at all. At all, man. Jake Paul is one crazy white boy, bro. I'm telling you, I don't know what he's thinking in his head. He thinks right now that Anthony Joshua's chin is weak because of what Daniel Dubois did to him. But I don't know, Jake, man. You're not Daniel Dubois. You know, Daniel Dubois is a heavyweight, a legitimate heavyweight that really could put danger towards, towards the life of Anthony Joshua. And I don't know if it, I don't know, man. It's dangerous. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Okay, so we still got some fighting going on in the chat right here. Crisp says, okay, Princess. Prince Vandro says, Crisp, thanks. Prince is a cross-dresser, he said. He says, why are you guys mad at each other? Okay, very interesting question there for Marty Miller. Oh, thank you, Your Highness. And then Prince Vandro says, Chris, pathetic comment, no comeback. All right, well, guys, keep it going. Keep the fighting going because obviously it helps with the engagement. And I appreciate free speech around here. That's what we're all about here. Marty Miller says, Paul versus Usyk would be a huge fight because people want to see Jake lose. Everyone has been waiting for him to fight someone legit. Well, Marty, they're going to fight in MMA. Remember that PFL contract that Jake Paul signed? Yeah. That PFL contract is for boxing. Daniel Hamid. Shout out to Daniel Hamid. He says, Salam. How are you, my man? Shout outs to Daniel Hamid all the way from Peterborough, UK. Everybody in the chat, welcome Daniel Hamid. He's actually, one of my mates in England knows who he is. Zain Musa Boxing knows who he is. So, you know, you guys have seen Zain here before. So give a warm welcome to Daniel Hamid while everybody in the chat is, you know, it seems that everybody in the chat is fighting right now. But yeah, shout out to Daniel Hamid. He's, you know, a white-collar boxer in, you know, in Peterborough. So, yeah, man, give him a warm welcome. Crisp says, exactly, he needs to fight someone legit. Yeah, they're going to fight in MMA. They're not going to fight in boxing, Jake Paul and Alexander Usyk, which I think is in a much more even fight in an MMA, standard, because Alexander Usyk is obviously the expert master boxer, but if you want to put that in MMA terms, both of these guys are novices. You know, if you think about it, Crisp says, I don't fight. Marty Miller says, yeah, I know people still want to see it. Usyk has a wrestling background too, very true. So it might just end up into a sprawl and brawl kind of fight. Yeah. And if it does, bro, I'm really curious to see how Alexander's Usyk's hand translates to 4-ounce gloves, right? You would imagine, yeah, he would probably, he would probably have some fast hands, very hard hands to hit as well. So, yeah, man, it's interesting in the MMA sense, right? But also, the reason for that choice is because Alexander Usyk doesn't have to tarnish his boxing record. You see what I'm saying? Like, yes, if he fights Jake Paul in boxing, of course he's going to win against Jake Paul. Come on, that's not even a question, right? If I think otherwise, maybe I should not have a combat sports channel. But when it comes to MMA, it's sort of like a side mission. So that's what it is. It's a side mission if he fights Jake Paul in MMA, and it doesn't tarnish his boxing career overall. So, oh wait, let me read some of these comments right here. Crisp says, I don't fight. Prince Vandro says, at Crisp, why you keep calling him Stinky? You think he's Indian or something, Crisp? I'd probably give you flogging. Prince Vandro says, Crisp, I don't think it would hurt because you are starting a fight like a little girl. Okay, all right, keep the fighting going, guys. I absolutely encourage verbal combat in my chats at all costs. Whereas, other channels will be like, oh, guys, no, don't fight, trying to be a referee and this and that. I'm not a referee. I'm here as a fan, of fights. Whether it's in the physical realm or whether it's in the online world, I absolutely encourage it. Keep the engagements going.
So if you're for real, just understand the consequences that come with a fight like this. Ask Francis Ngannou, who is a significant... Francis Ngannou, in my opinion, would destroy Jake Paul.
Oh, yeah, that's not even a question, Eddie Hearn, right? He says, there's not even a question that, I would absolutely destroy... that Francis Ngannou would destroy Jake Paul. I believe that. Yeah, Chris says, I'm starting a fight for sure. Yeah, keep the fight going, my man. Keep it going. I absolutely encourage you guys to keep fighting in the chat. Let's get it going, man.
But good luck to the man. If you're game and you want to roll the dice, we're ready.
Quickly on Alexander Usyk, he said, I'm 38. 38 is young, but I sit here and I think, what more does he have to do? They're saying Joseph Parker next.
Look, I want to see, to be honest with you, I'd love to see Joseph get his shot. And Joseph Usyk's a great fight, by the way.
Yeah, that would be a good fight, right? Joseph Parker, man, he's becoming a dark horse in the heavyweight division right now. It would be great to see him, get a title shot against Alexander Usyk. That's a fresh matchup, honestly. Prince is saying Chris is... No, I don't think he... I highly doubt he's calling me that. But, you're definitely not calling me that. I have a higher standard of living than most of you, so I don't know who you're talking to in that. You're definitely not talking to me, in that regard. So, hold on. I'm looking up that Timur guy who, was shot. So we're going to talk about that in a second. By the way, his name, Timur Khizriev, that's literally the Russian version of my name, right? I have an Arabic version of that name. His name, Khizriev, is, basically Kyrie in Arabic, but nonetheless, at Marty Miller, I think he is calling him that to tell you what he wouldn't say it to his face, though. I think he is calling him, okay. Oh, I started it. You did nothing, Your Highness. Okay, so Prince Vandros and Crisp are going at it right now. Okay, good. Keep it going, guys. Keep the beef going. I absolutely encourage it. So, yeah, keep the fight going. And, okay, let's get to this Eddie Hearn video right here. Where is that video? Hold on a second here.
But what more have you got to do? I mean, if he retires now, he goes down as an absolute generational great. Like, and legacy really only gets defined over time. So as the time passes and we start to really appreciate what this guy's done, don't forget, he was going into people's backyards, dethroning them and getting cruiserweight championships on the route to undisputed. Like, it's phenomenal. I would like to see him retire. But if he feels, I mean, that was a great performance. So there's no, you can't say, oh, he's slowing down, so retire. If he wants to keep going, good luck to him.
What do you think of His Excellency Turkey El-Sheikh calling for Alexander Usyk versus Moses Atama?
Yeah, you got look. Frank Warren is very, very good at building fighters. And I'm only giving my opinion. Moses' best win is Mike Balogun. Like, he's never fought a heavyweight really and truly in the top 50.
Prince Vandro says, Crisp, I did nothing, so these comments are absent.
In the world. Now he fights Dillian White, which is great matchmaking. If he goes through him, Moses has got loads of time. Moses is dangerous against anyone, but Usyk would just play with him at the moment, in my opinion. As good as Moses is, and I rate him very highly, you can't go...
Yeah, you know what? That would be a good fight for Alexander Usyk taking on, Moses Otama, right? That would absolutely be a good matchup if you think about it. You know, considering that Moses Otama is the next generation, Usyk is sort of like in the back end of his career right now. So, yeah, it would be a great generational, type of fight. Marty Miller says, yeah, you don't want to troll Kyrie, LOL. Someone tried last week, and let's just say you don't want this guy mad at you. There you go, man. I'm pinning that comment right there. That's very true. Oh, by the way, Prince, I'm still going to get to the Timur story that you had requested. We're going to talk about that. Prince Vandro says, I think Crisp ran away. Marty Miller 65, he says. Okay, so he's saying that he got the W on that one. Okay, so okay, back to the Eddie Hearn video. No problem. Take your time, for sure.
From Balogun to Usyk. You really, in my opinion, you can't even go from Dillian White to Usyk. But look at Dubois. He's just gone from Miller, Hrgovic, AJ to Usyk, and he's been completely battered. Like, I'll say a mismatch, but it was like from the second round on. So just phenomenal.
Tyson Fury's uploaded a video on a run saying he's been fucked twice with no Vaseline. The whole world knows that he beat Alexander Usyk both times, and Alexander Usyk knows that Tyson is allowed to win the third fight.
Fury will always want revenge, and they were two great fights. The second fight with AJ was a great fight, 115, 113. No one really talks about that fight. I don't think Fury won the first two fights, but if he wants a third crack, that's up to him. No one really wants to see it, if I'm honest. No one would pick him to win in a third fight. Just let him fight someone, let AJ fight someone or Jake Paul, let AJ fight Tyson Fury, and then let the winner of that fight Alexander Usyk.
Edward, thank you very much. I'm sure we'll catch you after the main event. Good luck.
He's like, Edward, catch you later, Edward. Okay, so now let's get to one of the topics that we are very much interested in, which is Timur Khizriev getting shot. So that is the topic right now. So we're going to talk about Timur Khizriev, PFL champion, shot in Russia. Okay, now what is going on with this right here? Let's show the video of this right here real quick. Let's see how this had gone about right here. So, okay, so there's the shot as he was shooting him. Wow, he took him down. Okay, and then there's the shots are firing as he took him down right there. Look at that. Look at that. So I believe these were rubber bullets, by the way. This is the reason why this is not really like a super violent video that could get flagged, because, by the way, these are, these are rubber bullets. So, okay, who are you taking in the Whitaker versus RDR fight, Prince? He's asking. Prince Vandro says, oh, no, wow, I just messed up at Crisp, was talking to the user Stinky from the comment section. Oh, man, I messed up, damn. Okay, yeah, a little bit of a miscommunication here. Are you saying that you thought he was calling you something that was referring to, let's say, the screen name of the person, right? Yeah, because I thought he was talking about other people in here as well. But okay, so undefeated Timur Khizriev, 18-0. The reigning PFL featherweight champ was ambushed in Machkala, Dagestan, as he exited his G-Wagon. Two masked attackers fired 5 rubber bullets, reportedly from a traumatic pistol. Khizriev fought back, was taken to surgery, and is now in stable condition with non-life-threatening injuries. Authorities launched a manhunt, but no arrests have been made. The attack may have been a personal hit, though the motive is unclear. Okay, very interesting, right? There is no motive in this, right? So we got to think, what is going on here? Is there religious conflict going on with this? Because you know that Dagestan is notorious for that. Is there some sort of like reprisal or some sort of revenge factor that plays into this? So yeah, I thought he was doing that too. You know what I'm saying? So Marty Miller says, I thought he was calling you that. Okay, Crisp says you're on drugs. Marty Miller says he's back. Yes, Prince Vandro says at Crisp, I'm sorry. Okay, well, you know what? Since Prince Vandros is saying I'm sorry, I'm going to say I'm sorry too, because I was encouraging you guys to fight on beef that was not real or was out of falsehood, right? Now look, I encourage fighting. I encourage people to fight. I encourage people to go at it with each other, but as long as there's something real about it, right? You know, but if it's out of confusion or because you thought that, you know, one said over the other, then yeah, I'm not going to be, you know, for that. You know what I mean? Look, I'm into conflict, but I'm into conflict with principles. So, you know, play nice, boys. So yeah, you know, Marty Miller says, I was confused about it too. I didn't see Stinky's comments. Yeah, okay, so obviously nobody was calling anyone stinky. It was just the screen name of somebody that was in here. So, all right, so there it is. Okay, so more on this Khizriev guy. Okay, let's delve more into this right here. Sports Illustrated actually made an article about this 6 days ago. 18-0 MMA champ shot 5 times in a brutal street attack. Okay, so 18-0 PFL world champion has been shot 5 times in an aggravated incident in Machkala. Timur Imam Khizriev, who won PFL 2024 World Championship opposite of Brendan Lorraine, was caught on video being assaulted by 2 men in masks in a residential area of Machkala, Dagestan. Khizriev was shot 5 times with rubber bullets and remain in care at hospital. Footage reshared by Vesnik MMA on X shows the incident where 2 men jumped Khizriev in a residential parking area. The featherweight fighter managed to secure a takedown on one of the attackers. So if you ever doubt Dagestani wrestling, even man try to shoot you, you take him down easy. Never forget, Dagestan make you good wrestler. Okay, so footage of PFL champion Timur Khizriev shot 5 times with rubber bullets. And then the Caucasian not reported that the attack took place on July 15th on Danilov Street in Machkala. Footage posted to Mash Gore Telegram channel claimed mass people waited for Khizriev in yard and opened fire. He tried to run away but could not. Further reports state Khizriev was shot 5 times with traumatic pistol designed for non-lethal ammunition. According to Gazira, Khizriev suffered injuries to shoulders, 2 hands, and chest and remains in stable condition. 29-year-old Khizriev hasn't fought since November of 2024. The motives behind the attack are unknown and the story is still developing. Okay, so there it is, right? you know, did a little Russian newsman accent, right? It's a little thing that I do here. Amazing explanation, Kyrie. Even after getting shot, he still manages to take the guy down. Yeah, who doubts Dagestani wrestling? Bro, you cannot deny Dagestani wrestling, okay? Look, I would like to see Kyle Dake, Jordan Burroughs, who else? Taylor, all these top American, I don't know, man. I don't wish anybody to be in a shootout situation, let alone our, you know, Olympic athletes in the United States and all of that. But certainly Dagestan has put their wrestling to the test in the ultimate proving ground of a shootout. Okay, forget just, you know, MMA wrestling, or just using, you know, wrestling for MMA. Man, he used that not only just in a street fight, he used that he used that in a shootout. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know anybody in the hood that could say that, you know what, they've taken somebody down while getting shot at, right? It's almost damn near impossible to have seen, you know, a scenario or a situation like that to any degree. But yeah, man, he's obviously in stable condition right now. Non-lethal. It was a non-lethal situation. So the motive, though, is unclear. I told you guys, right? In Dagestan, there is religious conflict. There is sectarian conflict. You also can't forget that. There's also aspects of tribal conflict. So there's all types of things going on here. And you know what? Maybe what if Timur owns, let's say, a bunch of mafia or you know, gang members some money or something like that, right? That could be a possibility as well. So, you know, yeah, never forget that right there. Okay, so let's hear some comments that that people have to say about UFC 318 reactions right here. Okay, let's hear some of the reactions that that people have for UFC 318 right here. So, okay, let's check this out right here. What we got here? Sean O'Malley. Okay, let's go to Sean O'Malley. Drops Dustin Poirer. Okay, he's just playing poker here. Okay, yeah, let's hear what Michael Bisping has to say on this one right here.
On a distant world, darkness march.
Prince Vandro says, God wills he will be okay. Inshallah. Inshallah, he'll be okay. It's non-lethal bullets, right? So, okay, you know what? That just brought this to my attention, right? I think if you're trying to shoot somebody with non-lethal bullets, I think your main objective is to send a message. Okay, I'll give you guys an example, right? In my neighborhood where I live at now, not in the hood, but in the new neighborhood that I live at right now, right? You know, an affluent part of Sacramento, there was a shootout that happened here. Okay, think about it. It's an affluent neighborhood in the suburbs of Sacramento, and there was a shootout here. There was a Jamaican group or Jamaican family that was living next door to me, and yeah, their house got, you know, shot up. I don't know what happened. I don't know why they, you know, their house got shot up, but they weren't targeting anybody per se, right? I think what their whole entire thing was to send a message, right? And I think they got the message loud and clear, and they got ran out of their house. They were renting that house anyway, so, you know, the owner was very concerned about the situation, and yeah, you know, they moved up out of this neighborhood really quickly after their house got shot up. So, you know, keep that in mind. Prince Vandro says, nah, I think he doesn't like Timur, but instead of fighting him because he knows he would get destroyed by Timur, he was shot. Yeah, I agree. I agree. Obviously, these are non-fighting people, right? These are not MMA people in any degree, but I'm going to suspect and assume that it has something to do with the Russian mafia or some sort of criminal organization that is trying to send a message, right? Maybe he owed some people money or something like that, right? You never know with these types of situations.
All right, so UFC 318 went down in New Orleans on Saturday night, and of course, by now, you know the results. I'm late to the party, but I do have some thoughts for you and some things to consider and my analysis to give. Of course, in the main event, we had Dustin Poirer in his final fight taking on Max Holloway. I thought that Dustin Poirer might get the job done, but I was concerned because Max Holloway, 155 pounds, is bigger, does hit harder, and can take a better shot. And as I said, going into this one, he's the younger man. I know the advantages that Dustin Poirer had going into the first two fights with Max, being the bigger, stronger, more experienced guy, that played against him. Now, Max Holloway went out.
And keep in mind, the second time around that they had fought for the interim belt back in 2019, Max did not look like a true 155er. In fact, he was just a little bit chubbier for the 155 division. In other words, when he tried to move up a weight, he just did it in a way where, all right, I'm just going to go and eat carbs and, Hawaiian barbecue and, and call it a day. This time, he really put in the effort of building muscle and putting the strength and training and conditioning to that particular weight class that he needed to be in. And guys, also, don't forget to hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and let's get to the 1,000 mark of this channel, inshallah.
And he looked phenomenal. The punch power is definitely increased at 155 pounds. Max Holloway has stopped plenty of people, but typically he wears them down with volume before he gets the finish. Well, in the first round, 1-2 drops Dustin Poirer, and it looked like it was going to be a quick, easy night for Max Holloway. Of course, Dustin Poirer, this is why everybody loves him. He never quits.
Yeah, in the first round, I was like, wow, he already hurt Dustin Poirer. He's like, this is everything that I had mentioned to you guys, right? The accumulated damage that Dustin Poirier has took over the years, and here we go.
He doesn't know the definition of that. He will fight. As long as there is a heartbeat in his body, he will continue to give everything he has. In the second round, once again, Max Holloway catches him, starts teeing off, ripping to the body, looking sensational.
Yeah, Marty Miller says, yeah, Max looked huge. I'd like to see him rematch Ilya at lightweight. I think he'll be able to take his shot better, not being so depleted. You know what? I don't know, man. I may have to push back on that a little bit. I don't think that fight works any differently. I'm going to tell you why, just from my own anecdotal experience, okay? There's guys that I've sparred before, right, where they were of a certain weight class. It went a certain way, all right? It went a certain way, and when, let's say, we gained weight together or we moved up a weight together, the results was the same. Now, obviously, styles make fights. This person that I normally spar with, we were the same weight class one day, and then we were the same weight class when we got older and, and still stuck training with each other, right? And the results were always the same. Whether it was grappling on the ground, rolling around, or whether it was full-blown MMA sparring, or whether it was boxing sparring, it was always the same. And I don't know if weight can somehow be of the difference, but I will say, man, Max Holloway at 155 is a different Max Holloway at 145, and you may be right about that. So, Marty Miller says, see ya, Prince. Come back for sure, my man. Okay. Okay. All right, my dear brother Kyrie, it's bedtime for me. I'll catch up on your live stream again another time. Until then, assalamu alaikum. Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullah wa barakatuh to you, my brother. Yeah, he says, see ya, Prince. Back for sure, man. And Marty Miller with the, he gives Marty Miller the salute sign. Okay.
Looking like the best boxer in the UFC, brah, right? Like he said against Kelvin Cater back in the day. But again,
I remember that. He says, I'm the best boxer in MMA. You don't think Henry Cejudo versus TJ Dillashaw looks different? Well, you know what, Marty, listen, I've trained with TJ Dillashaw, right? So I might have a slight biasness towards TJ, right? Obviously Ali Abdelaziz, who's, by the way, is my uncle, is, is a representative of Henry Cejudo. So, yeah, I'm going to be biased on that either way. But, TJ Dillashaw is the man. Yeah, of course it would look different. TJ Dillashaw at 135 was the best 135 ever, right? And that's what I'm always going to stand by. That's what I'm always going to say. And I truly believe that TJ Dillashaw would have beaten Merab prime for prime. But yeah, looks different at 35. He said, yeah, it would have been a different fight. Again, different guys, different strokes of folks will have a different, outcome, I suppose, right?
Dustin Poirier digs deep, clips Max Holloway, drops him to a knee, jumps the gilly in signature Dustin Poirier fashion. I'm so glad that he did that because he went out on his terms. He didn't change anything. He didn't play it safe. And could you have imagined if he got the guillotine, the first one in his career after jumping a gilly in almost every single fight? But this isn't a fairy tale scenario, okay? This is the real world. This is mixed martial arts, and that's not how it went down. At the end of the second round, Max Holloway looked worse for wear. Going back to his corner, he was kind of wobbled, he was stumbled, he definitely looked a little dazed and confused, and it looked like Dustin Poirier might have been able to turn things around. Rounds 3, 4, and 5, Max edged all the round.
And within that round that Michael Bisping is describing, this is where Max Holloway is different from the last two fights, right? The first fight, obviously, in 2012, it was such inexperienced version of Max Holloway. The second time around, it was a pudgy 155 version of Max Holloway. This time, it was more of the refined version of Max Holloway, the one that's coming off of the victory from Justin Gaethje, and so on and so forth, right? Marty Miller says, yeah, I think he was compromised making that weight cut to 125. He barely got clipped and went down. The more you cut, the less water you retain in your brain. That's very true. That is very true, right? And that is why Joe Rogan is so against weight cutting. But at the same time, man, it's like, what do you do when you already have a system in place for, these types of things, right? It's already a system that's in place, and, that's just what you have by the end of the day, so.
Rounds. They were 10-9 rounds. They were close, but Max took them. That's a 10-9 round. When it's really close and one guy just edges it, that's a 10-9. When one guy clearly wins a round, that's a 10-8 round. That's not my opinion. That is a fact. That is what I was taught at a seminar by the Nevada State Athletic Commission. Okay,
so now we understand, right? If it is a clear domination in one round, right, it is a 10-8. If there is, a bit of some slight differences or it's competitive, it's 10-9. And Michael Bisping says that this is what he was told by the Nevada State Athletic Commissions in a seminar that he had attended.
But even the judges forget about that. It was a great performance for Max Holloway. And Max Holloway, just always full of class. Gets on the microphone and says, hey, that was great, but this isn't about me. This is about Dustin Poirier. And he gave us his moment.
With Asana, you can manage any kind of work. From project intake, to campaign management, to strategic planning, or anything else your team works on. Asana works for you. Try for free today at asana.com.
Too soft for the baddest man alive, bro. Give it up for the...
Hey, shout outs to Max, right? After he won, he got on the mic, obviously got on the winner's circle, talked, and, afterwards, they had the mic on Dustin Poirier because obviously he was the star of the show. It was his retirement fight, and Max was over there being a DJ and a hype man, saying to the crowd, hey, listen, give this man some props, right? You know what? This is not a bad loss for Dustin Poirier. Obviously, he gave a good account of himself. Not only that, he has 2 wins over Max Holloway already, right? And in this one, obviously, Max is just the better man in this moment of time right now and just caught him at the right time. So,
of course, we got that sensational send-off, that beautiful video package from the UFC. The crowd, the arena, they lost their minds. You could hardly hear the final clapper or the buzzer at the end of the rounds because the emotion and the noise from the crowd was just phenomenal. And that's because what Dustin Poirier evokes from the fans. He's a fan favorite. He always brings it. He's never turned down a fight. He's had some losses, but he's had some tremendous wins as well. He always shows...
Yeah, look, that's the thing with Dustin Poirier, right? Look, aside from the fact that I hate Dustin when he fights the Dagestani fighters, Dustin Poirier is actually one of my favorite fighters in terms of guys that I know that will bring it, right? You can always count on Dustin Poirier to bring it every time.
up. The man's a class act. We're going to miss him lifting up his shorts mid-fight, spitting out blood in between rounds, just giving it everything he's got. Win or lose, you know you're in for something special with Dustin Poirer. Anytime his name was announced on a fight card, there was an aura, there was a buzz, there was a thrill, because you're like, hold on a minute, it's Dustin Poirer. We're going to get something special. And that's what we got Saturday night. However, for him, it wasn't the fairy tale finish that he was looking for, but it was the end to a phenomenal career, and a career for which he will be remembered. He will be in the Hall of Fame. He was respected by everyone on the fight roster. He's the fight fans' favourite fighter, okay? He made his mark in this sport. He made a lot of money. He left it all inside the octagon, and he's going to go off and live a great life after fighting. Congrats to Dustin Poirer, and well done to Max Holloway. What's next for Max Holloway? Well, of course, he's one of the top dogs at lightweight. He's beat Dustin. He's beat Justin, but he just got knocked out against Poirer. So he's fighting for the belt anytime soon. Who does he fight? He has a rematch against Charles Oliveira. Of course, Charles just got knocked out in sensational fashion versus Ilya. Charles and Max fought a very long time ago, but the fight ended in a very anticlimactic fashion. It was an esophageal injury very early in the fight. Max Holloway's hand was raised, but it wasn't a proper win. He doesn't really feel like he beats him in a fight. And Charles Oliveira embodies...
You know what? That would be a great matchup next for Max Holloway, to be honest with you, right? There's a lot of unfinished business with Charles Oliveira. Many would probably consider that a fluke win to a certain degree, right? There might be a different outcome this time, right? Two different fighters this time around, and obviously, yeah, that would be great for Charles Oliveira to get at least a shot at the BMF belt. I mean, look, they're circulating this BMF title around now, right? Max Holloway now defended it for what it's worth. Now they can legitimize it with a BMF title fight with Charles Oliveira and Max Holloway.
Is the spirit of a BMF. You know he does, and you know what I'm talking about. So Max Holloway, Charles Oliveira for the BMF belt, and the winner of that, if it's Max, goes on to face Poirer if he gets through Paddy or Ahmed Sarrouk. You just engage it, regardless of whoever it's going to be. Now, co-main event, we saw Paulo Costa turn back the clock and look like the Paulo Costa that signed with the UFC. Paulo Costa in his last few fights just didn't have the fight, didn't have the output, didn't have the intention and the nastiness that you need to win fights in the UFC. You got to go forward. You got to put a hurting on people. You got to beat them down.
Now, how about that situation with Khamzat and Paulo Costa saying that Paulo Costa was saying that his girl was being DM'd by Khamzat or something like that, and then Khamzat says something to the effect that, well, it was her that messaged me or this, that, and the other. And you know how it is, man. I think that Paulo Costa is just trying to drum up interest. And remember, Paulo Costa really is about the entertainment value, so you can't put it past him to sort of run a play in this situation, right? So...
You're going to be a nasty bastard inside there. That's what we saw from Paulo Costa Saturday night against Roman Kopylov. Kopilov's young, he's quick, he's got really good kickboxing, he's taller, he's longer, he's really fast. Costa went forward and he looked like the Paulo Costa of old that earned the title fight against Israel Adesanya. And he needed that. If he'd have lost that fight, I'm telling you, it might have been the end of the career for Paulo Costa. Certainly in big spotlights like co-main events on pay-per-views, it would have been on the prelims or whatever, and it would have just been a mental downfall because now you're just racking up loss after loss after loss. But that's not what happened. Barashinya is back, and he wants to get his hands on Khamzat Chimaev because he's sliding into his wife's DMs or his girlfriend's DMs and all the rest of it.
You know, my wife is over here. He DM her, and I will not stop with you. I get to you.
Khamzat came out and said, "Hold on a minute."
Said it was she who wrote to me, Habibi. He said he called him Habibi. That's crazy, man. He said Habibi, and then he has a laughing emoji on it.
That messaged me first, so the plot thickens there, but I don't think he's going to get a title fight anytime soon. But if Khamzat Chimaev loses against Dricus du Plessis next month, you never know. They might just make that fight. Now, they
will make that fight. That is exactly why Paulo Costa is doing this. He knows that Khamzat can beat DDP. And as soon as he beats DDP, there it is, man. There's the fight right there for both of them.
The night for me was Daniel Rodriguez versus Kevin Holland. That was absolute madness from start to finish. Rodriguez
Hey, if you live in one of these cities right here, why don't you own an apartment building? Seriously, let me show you a...
Usually starts very slowly. This time he went straight at Kevin Holland. Kevin Holland met him in the middle, and it was just all that carnage for 15 minutes. Absolute madness, a lot of action. They were knocking each other down left, right.
Yeah, that was a good fight as well, right? Rodriguez and Kevin Holland. Now that right there was fight of the night right there. Great back and forth between them. You know what? One of the best performances of Daniel Rodriguez in his whole entire career.
Center. It looked like Holland was done in round one. Then it looked like Rodriguez was out on his feet, eats an uppercut, he's wobbled, he's all over the place, he gets dropped, he gets caught in the choke. And we know Kevin Holland with those long arms loves the high guillotine, right? But he was able to fight out of it. He took Rodriguez down with a clean takedown. Rodriguez gets back to his feet, wobbles him again, turns into a grappler.
Oh, you're a wrestler now.
Hits full mount, looks really good, ends the fight on top, landing vicious ground and pound. 15 minutes of madness. And that's what we love, and that's what we expect from Kevin Holland, and that's what we got from Daniel Rodriguez. Big win for him.
That was, yeah, that honestly was one of the most exciting fights of the entire night. I mean, they went back and forth. It was action-packed. And listen, if you regretted spending $80 on that fight card in the beginning of the main card, that fight right there made it worth it. That's when it was like, all right, you know what? This is absolutely worth doing. So,
yeah, because Kevin Holland this year has looked phenomenal. Patricio Pitbull, once again, not enough action, not enough output. He was very lucky to get the decision. Yes, he got the win over Dan Ige, who's not an easy man to beat. And he did look good technically. He was able to take him down. We saw some beautiful takedowns, some nice transitions, some beautiful grappling. And we saw the power in the hands in the second.
yeah, so Patricio Pitbull finally got a win in the UFC. Look, in all honesty, I thought Dan Ige was going to win this fight. That was my official prediction for that fight, which I got wrong. And I'm not afraid to admit when I get a prediction wrong. But the reason why I thought that Dan Ige was going to win this is because I just thought the UFC level that he had fought in was going to be enough to sort of be a problem for Pitbull. That wasn't the case. Obviously, Pitbull was the bigger problem here. You know, he sort of started adjusting himself into the UFC now. So I think that's really, you know, the difference here is the adjustments that Pitbull made.
Round. However, he was lucky to get the decision because the first round could have gone either way. It really could. Okay, Dan Ige was probably throwing more. Pitbull wasn't doing much, but he rocked him in the second. He had some takedowns. He had some control. He had a bit of ground and pound, and he's got the monkey off his back because he's got to win in the UFC. However, from here, the fights are only going to get harder. He's going to win over Dan Ige, so it's going to be another tough opponent next. He's got to throw more. He has to have more output. And then, of course, opening up the pay-per-view, Michael Johnson, 39 years old, taking on the young buck Daniel Zellhuber, ridiculously tall, ridiculously big for lightweight, 25 years old versus 39 years old. Michael Johnson's been...
Now, how about Michael Johnson, bro, for the old dogs, right? If there's a theme overall this whole entire weekend, it is that the old dogs, you know, still got it. Manny Pacquiao still got it. Alexander Usyk, the best heavyweight in the division right now in boxing, and at 39 years old. Michael Johnson still doing a dang thing against the top prospect, Daniel Zellhuber. This is another one I got wrong. I thought Daniel Zellhuber was going to win this fight because I thought that Michael Johnson was a journeyman fighter that they bring in to fight these prospects. And sometimes it is the old dogs that get the best of these exchanges. And that is what we got out of Michael Johnson.
Been wobbled and knocked out a few times. Of course, last time against Otman Azaitar, knocks him out in the first round, I think it was. Zellhuber talking a lot coming into this one, discrediting him, saying that he's old, that he's going to show him, he's going to teach him a lesson. But Michael Johnson looked phenomenal. He was quick, he was powerful. He dropped him in the first round. He was putting together beautiful combinations, and he put the 25-year-old Daniel Zellhuber in his place. Zellhuber's only 25. He's a physical specimen. He'll learn from this. He'll gain valuable experience, and he will be back. And I think we'll see a lot more from Zellhuber in the future. And some standouts on the prelims as well. Of course, Marvin Vettori got beaten by Brendan Allen. Brendan Allen went out there Vettori's a really tough guy. I like him a lot. He's got a solid chin. There's no quitting the guy. Of course, he's been through some personal troubles. His brother passed away earlier this year in a fire in Italy, so he's got a lot of stuff to deal with there. Brendan Allen looked really good, kind of beat him up from start to finish, though. I don't like to say that. Atabi Abega Gautier from Manchester beat the out of Robert Valentine. It was a straight-up assassination. 1 minute, 10 seconds. Walked him down, beat him down, smacked him around until the referee dragged him off. Beautiful performance there. Of course, Islam Dulatov got the job done as well. For a Versace model, this man can fight. Knocked out.
Oh, yeah, man. So this one I got correct. Islam Dulatov. I knew that this guy was going to win. I just felt like they brought in this guy, Adam Fouguet, to basically be the slaughter, okay, to this new prospect that they have going on. He's a model, he's Dagestani, and then he's fighting out of Germany. So these are like factors that the UFC is going to look at and say, all right, this is a guy that we need to market. Dagestani, he's German, he's a model. On top of that, it's a market that the UFC can absolutely exploit because guess what? They want to go back to Germany. They haven't been back to Germany since 2016. So if they're going to headline a card over there, Islam Dulatov is the guy to do that.
Adam Fouguet in 4 minutes, 6 seconds in the very first round. A lot of stoppages on the prelim. Carly Judy stopped Nicole Cagliari in the third round. Bruno Ferreira defeated Jason McVeigh by an armbar in the first round. Ryan Spann submits Lucas Brzezinski.
That was a good one right there. Ryan Spann, right? Took him down, submitted him with an arm triangle, and that was all she wrote. A whole bunch of finishes that went on in the prelims, right? So it was like, all right, you guys like finishes, you guys like submissions, you guys like knockouts, watch this. The last few fights are all going to end in a decision, and we're going to drag this out all the way till 10 p.m. at night, West Coast time.
In the first round, Jimmy Cruz submits Marcin Prachnio in the first round. Islam Dulatov knocks out Fouguet in the first round. Atabi Gautier knocks out Valentine in the first round as well. And then from there, they were all decisions. However, they were decisions, but there was a lot of drama, there was a lot of action, and of course, the night belongs to Max Holloway. Congratulations, Max Holloway. And one more time, congratulations to Dustin Poirer. The man has had a legendary career. He's an awesome human being. There's never any controversy with this man. Just a great guy, an example to many young mixed martial artists out there. Enjoy your retirement, and thank you for everything that you brought to the octagon.
Yeah, well said by Michael Bisping. I'm going to drop a monologue on this particular topic right now. So let's see here. We are at 18. Okay. So at 1 hour and 18 minutes, that's what I'm going to have this on the timeline. Okay. So 1 hour and 18 minutes. All right, so here we go. Let's put it to 40. Okay. Okay, so in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, check this out. The monologue of UFC 318, Usyk's win, and Manny Pacquiao's unexpected performance. So when it comes to fairy tales, it doesn't exist in combat sports. Sometimes it does, and this weekend proves the contrasting outcomes of these variations. For example, we thought that Dustin Poirier was going to win this fight because it's his retirement fight. It was the first time that Max Holloway came into the UFC, and now it's the last time that Dustin Poirier is going out of the UFC. Plus, he has a record of 2-0 against Max Holloway. So you would think that somehow he's going to come out the victor here and have this historic storybook career. Well, not so fast. The reality of combat sports is that it's not a fairy tale. In fact, it's worse for other guys that are not Dustin Poirier. Dustin Poirier may have lost that night, but he won big in life. There are guys out there that fight in the regional scenes that win every Saturday night, but have to go home to a broken home or a situation of destitution or just trying to make it, living from paycheck to paycheck. Now, the unexpected performance of Manny Pacquiao, I got to tell you, many people constantly put a time limit to people, whether it's age, whether it's anything, right? Okay, let's say you want to restart a career at, maybe 40 or try something new. People will always try to doubt you. It's too late for you. It's this, that, and the other. You can't do it. This, that, and the other. He proved all those notions wrong. Why? Because he stuck to his beliefs. Not only did Manny Pacquiao stick to his beliefs, he stuck to his training all this time. And he proved that at this age, he can still compete. At any given night and at any given differences of judges, he would have won that fight. It just so happens that the judges who showed up that night decided not to give him a nod. But for those of you that were tapped in and was watching that fight, you know for a fact that Manny Pacquiao still belongs in that level. Now, does he belong in there with Jaron Ennis, who is the top champion at 147 division right now? Maybe not, but he can hang in there with Barrios. He can hang in there with the likes of Adrian Broner. He could definitely hang in there with the likes of Keith Thurman if they were to run it back again. 46 years old, proved everybody wrong, right? So the moral of that story, man, stop listening to doubters, okay? Because most of you that doubted Manny Pacquiao, including myself, okay? But most of you who don't train, you can't see the reality that maybe perhaps Manny Pacquiao has maintained himself over the years, has allowed himself to stay healthy, and has done things that most of you at 46 are not doing. Most of you at 46 are a bunch of fat asses. I'm just going to be honest with you, right? By the time you're 40, you got bellies out to here. You're fat. Your face is already like swollen up. This, that, and the other. You're not the same guy anymore. You're losing hair or this, that, and the other. Not Manny Pacquiao. He's different. Everybody ages differently. Everybody ages differently. I age differently than others. I smoke people in the gym all the time, and you've seen my workout videos in this channel, right? There's a reason why many content creators out there would not put up their training videos. I heard Myron Gaines from Fresh and Fit podcast say something to the effect, well, I think it's kind of weird that, other guys out there would put out their workout videos. Yeah, it's weird because you don't do anything special. Nobody wants to sit there and just watch you curl weights all day. But if you see my workouts, they're all action-packed. Not only that, they also kind of teach you how to train in a combat sports manner. You know what I mean? So, yeah, that's the reason why. So everybody ages differently, and there's not a lot of 40-year-olds that could do what I do, doing box jumps that NBA players do, doing it at the weights that I do it, and then doing it with trying to test your conditioning and stamina at the same time. Now, let's get to Usyk right now, right? What I think about Usyk is that he is the best heavyweight right now, and he's so humble, and I think this is a very important lesson to take, right? He says, you know what, I'm not best right now. I think, I'm okay. I'm not the best man, but I say this because, the God, if he see that you are arrogant, then he gonna take it away and show you this, that, and the other, right? So that's one thing that we can learn from Alexander Usyk is his humility, right? We often think about ourselves and the glory that we can impose on the world and the fact that, we are great and that we are awesome and this, that, and the other. But the reality is that sometimes it's better to be grounded. Sometimes it's better to understand where our blessings come from, and that comes from God. Most of the times, whenever we win or whenever we do something great, we often like to attribute it to our greatness, right? Even myself, right? I'll be like, hey, you know what? I'm doing so good on YouTube right now. It is because of my mentality or this, that, and the other. And sometimes I have to stop myself and realize that it is only Allah that brings these people to this channel. It is only Allah that brings these kind and loyal people in my life on the online world, right? It is only Allah that does that, right? Yes. Do I put the hard work in? Yes, I put in the hard work, but by the end of it all results remain under Allah's will. And that's the most important thing that we really have to understand. Marty Miller says, yeah, exactly. I think a big part of this mindset, once people get in their late 30s, they always say, I'm old, and they stop doing things that they are used to. That's very true. Marty Miller says, your workouts are legit. That's what made me interested in your channel, and they directly correlate to combat sports. Yeah, that's really what it is, right? So when Myron Gaines said that he, thinks that it's weird for people to, post their workout videos. Well, it's because it's not really anything that is, out of the ordinary. I mean, most guys, what do? They bench press, they do curls, and then they go on the treadmill. That's what most guys do in the gym. Obviously, if you're a combat athlete, you do more sophisticated things than that. So, Fresh Melon Juice says, Dustin and Pacquiao lost a bet to Theo Vaughn. They have to sleep with the hillbilly now. Huh, okay. Dustin and Pacquiao lost a bet to Theo Vaughn. Okay, so, yeah. So, Theo Vaughn made a bet? Explain that, Fresh Melon Juice. Elaborate on that bet a little bit more. Because me, I don't know much about gambling or anything like that. The only time that I ever know about gambling is when Zane, obviously, tells me about, the odds and the, parlays and this and that. Man, that was a part of mixed martial arts that I never really knew, right? Or part of boxing that I never really knew. Or part of sports that I never really knew, which was the betting aspect of it. I never really knew or understood those things, but on any regard, yeah, Zane obviously knows all it. But yeah, elaborate for me a little bit on what you mean on that particular subject. So, okay, next topic at hand, right? We may close off with this particular topic, Obama, because we can't have a live stream without some political talk, because that I love getting into some politics in here as well. And the MMA world, what's different about us in the MMA world is that we're not shy to talk about politics. That is a reason why Donald Trump obviously supports the world of mixed martial arts, simply for this reason alone. So let's get to this content right now of Barack Obama. Actually, you know what? We'll talk more combat sports right now. We'll talk about Barack Obama right after this. So maybe at like 1 hour and 30 minutes into the live stream, we're going to talk about Obama and, him possibly charged for treason. So, all right, here we go. So, okay, in exactly 2 minutes. Oh, the bet. Okay. That's what Fresh Melon Juice says. Do you think Michelle is a man? You know what? No, I don't think Michelle is a man at all. Listen, this is the reason why I don't think that, right? I think that there are conspiracy nutcases in both sides of both the Democratic and the Republican side, right? Now, look, many people are upset at Trump right now because he's not releasing the Epstein list, right? But was there any Epstein list to begin with, right? I question that a little bit, right? Or is it just because of this, dogma that comes from the right-wing conspirator world that, okay, you know what, there's all these nefarious things going on and we need an answer. And then Trump made a promise, something to the effect of, you know what, I'm going to release these files and I'm going to let everybody know what is up and what is going on and this, that, and the other. So, okay. So in 1 minute, we're going to talk about Obama and the possible the possible treasonous conspiracy against Trump. So, Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard, man, that is insane to think that Tulsi Gabbard is now the what do you call it? The director of the National Intelligence Agency. That's insane. Okay, so fresh melon juice, no, neither a woman. Fresh melon juice, Myron's G-A-Y. I don't know. Is he? I didn't know that. I didn't know that Myron was or this, that, and the other. But in 15 seconds, we're going to go into this Obama story. Okay, so countdown 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. All right, so we got Obama possibly facing treasonous conspiracy against Trump, and Tulsi Gabbard details bombshell details of the Obama era. Okay, so this is very interesting, right? Obviously, Tulsi Gabbard, for those of you that don't know, I believe she was a former Democrat who converted to Republican. And obviously, being that is probably the reason why she got the National Intelligence Director job. But let's hear this article right here from Fox News.
Tulsi Gabbard details bombshell claims of Obama-era cabal's treasonous conspiracy against Trump. Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard detailed striking findings from declassified documents released Friday, claiming to showcase overwhelming evidence that an Obama-era cabal laid the groundwork for what would be the years-long Trump-Russia collusion probe after the 2016 election. The implications of this are frankly nothing short of historic, Gabbard said on this week's Sunday Morning Futures. Over 100 documents that we released on Friday really detail and provide evidence of how this treasonous conspiracy was directed by President Obama just weeks before he was due to leave office after President Trump had already gotten elected. This is not a Democrat or Republican issue. This is an issue that is so serious
Now look, when they say that this is not a Democrat or a Republican issue, and when it is Tulsi Gabbard that is involved in it, I believe it. This is a woman who was a former Democrat, right, representative of Hawaii, and then converted to being a Republican. So in that regard, you know what? I don't doubt her assessment in that particular matter. Fresh Melon Juice says, did you guys talk about the fights coming up this weekend? No, I will probably do that in the next upcoming live stream or so, but yeah.
It should concern every single American because it has to do with the integrity of our democratic republic, she continued. Documents shared by Gabbard's office claimed that before the 2016 election, there was no evidence showing Russia tried to directly alter vote counts. However, members of the intelligence community later suggested that Russian President Vladimir Putin wanted to help Trump win. Gabbard argues the narrative shift was politically motivated rather than based on new findings. Creating this piece of manufactured intelligence that claims that Russia had helped Donald Trump get elected contradicted every other assessment that had been made previously in the months leading up to the election that said exactly the opposite. That Russia had neither the intent nor the capability to try to hack the United States election, Gabbard told host Maria Bartiromo. So the effect of what President Obama and his senior national security team did was subvert the will of the American people, undermining our democratic republic and enacting what would be essentially a years-long coup against President Trump, who was duly elected by the American people. Evidence released by Gabbard's office implicated then-Director of National Intelligence James Clapper, former CIA Director John Brennan, former FBI Director James Comey, and former National Security Advisor Susan Rice, among others, in addition to the former president. Gabbard confirmed her intent to send all the uncovered documents to the Department of Justice and the FBI for a criminal referral. When asked if she expects to see prosecutions, she vowed to do all that she can to ensure accountability. We have whistleblowers, actually, coming forward now after we released these documents because there are people who were around, who were working within the intelligence community at this time, who were so disgusted by what happened, she shared. We're starting to see some of them come out of the woodwork here because they want to see justice delivered. There must be indictments. Those responsible, no matter how powerful they are and were at that time, no matter who was involved in creating this treasonous conspiracy against the American people, they all must be held accountable. Some Democrats, including Representative Jim Himes of Connecticut, who is the top member of his party on the House Intelligence Committee, have criticized Gabbard's claims as baseless. Fox News Digital previously reached out to Obama, Representatives for the former president Clapper, Comey, Brennan, Rice, Lynch, and McCabe for comment and did not receive a response. Fox News' Brooke Singman and Mark Damasco contributed to this report.
So, you know what Russian newsman, please. Okay. So, Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard details striking findings from declassified documents released Friday, claiming to showcase overwhelming evidence that in Obama-era cabal laid the groundwork for what would be the years-long Trump-Russia collusion probe after 2016 election. The implications of these, frankly, nothing short of historic. Gabbard said on Week's Sunday Morning Futures. Over 100 documents that were released on Friday really detail and provide evidence of how treasonous conspiracy was directed by President Obama just weeks before he was just due to leave office after President Trump was already gotten elected. This is not a Democrat or Republican issue or a KGB issue or a CIA issue. This is an issue that is so serious that it should concern every single American because it has to do with integrity of our democratic republic, she continued. All right, there it is. Russian newsman for you on that one. All right, so with that in mind, I want to thank everybody who has tapped in to this live stream. Please don't forget to hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. And if you want to check this out from the very rewind, I have some timestamps of the particular subjects that we are talking about in this particular matter. So please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Also check out the description down below for the timestamps for all your favorite moments in this particular live stream. So with that in mind, I'd like to close it out and say thank you for everybody that's tapped in. I want to thank Marty Miller, Fresh Melon Juice. I also want to thank Prince Vandros, Stinky, also Crisp. I want to thank Crisp as well. And that is about it. So everybody around the world, the Zahomie Zubs, shout outs to you. And yeah, that's about it right there. So I want to thank everybody for tapping in. Thank you for the request of the Russian newsman bid that I do, right? Obviously, I didn't think that I would be doing impressions like MMA Guru, but you know what? I'm definitely proficient in the Russian accent of things. So, all right. So with that in mind, guys, don't forget to hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and watch this content from the very beginning all the way to the end. And I will see you in the next content, in the next live stream, in the next video, inshallah.